Hello again. In this chapter, we will create all the windows and the seals. But first, we will cut the rear windows from the main body. Before that, we will have some work to do on the front of the body. So I will go ahead and hide all the objects except for the body and the hood. What work am I talking about? Well, I'm going to have to go ahead and delete some of the edges here and here, because we don't need them. Also, it's a good time to show you how to delete these vertexes. But first, when we choose the removal tool, our geometry is crashed. So first we need to delete all the edges, and then we can delete the vertexes. Unfortunately, there is no tool to correctly remove the vertexes and edges at the same time. So now, I'm going to remove the selected edges, and now I need to remove the stray edges, and that's all. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this again so we remember. We select the vertex that should be removed from the geometry, and then we choose the remove tool. Oh, I almost forgot. First, we have to remove the edges, then the vertex. So select the edges and remove them, and now the vertexes are selected, so now I can use the remove tool. Now, I need to move these two vertexes a little bit, because after deleting a few edges, the geometry has been changed, so I have to make the length more equal between the vertexes. If we don't do this, we will have a problem with the NURM subdivision. So I'll just simply scale them a little bit, and maybe I will move those two vertexes away too. Okay, now everything is okay, so we can start making the windows. As I said, we will start from the rear window. We just have to detach a few polygons from the main body, so let's select them. Now I will show you how fast and easy it is to select multiple polygons. When we work on a model, we have the move icon selected, so you could have problems with selecting polygons because you can move some. To solve this problem, we have to choose the select only icon, and then we will be able to select polygons without any problems. Okay, now I'll show you how to fast detach the windows from the object and create the seal during this process. So first, we just detach the selected polygons. Then, we select our new object, and to create the seal, we will use the inset tool. As you can see, it simply created some new polygons. Because those new polygons aren't selected, I can simply use the detach tool again. Now, I'll change the color of the seal to, for example, blue. And very quickly, we created the seal. Of course, we have to add some thickness to it. We will use the shell options. As you can see, by changing the inner and outer amount, we can increase or decrease the thickness of the object. We can add new segments too, but in our case, we will need to set the inner amount to 1. After modification, we will need to convert our new object to poly, so we will be able to edit this geometry. We need to select all the edges and chamfer them a little bit, because the seal is smooth. Oops. Looks like I forgot about the iteration. Okay, now everything looks good. Now we can finish the rear window. Of course, we will use the shell modifier because it's perfect for this. It is very important to create the glass surface with double sides. When double sides are created, the glass will simulate all atmospheric effects like caustics. If you leave it only one-sided, your glass on final render will be flat and not too realistic. Of course, we will have to chamfer the edges to gain the correct effect with NURM subdivision. Because we created the window and seal from one object that has been cut from the car main body, we can be sure that they will fit to each other. Excellent. Just look. Everything is correct. Now we will go ahead and make the front window. This time, we will copy a few of the polygons from the roof and create the surface from that. Next, we will go ahead and fit it to the main body. So let's go ahead and start. I need these 4 polygons, so we'll go ahead and copy them. Now I have to copy the bottom edges, and don't forget to turn on the constraints parameter. Excellent. Now I can go ahead and copy these edges. Now I need to fit them to the main body, so I have to position all of these vertexes. I'm not doing it to be perfect, but I will correct them later using NURM subdivision. Just like that, and maybe a little bit more. There we go. I position them in the top view, and once I've finished correcting them in the top view, we need to switch to the side view to correct that aspect as well. As you can see, I did it only provisionally, but I will go and correct this later on using smoothed objects. Okay, I think that's going to be enough right there. Now I need to cut 3 new edges that fit to those 1. Now, as you can see, I only have to move them a little. It's important to use the other object's geometry in the scene as a carriage. In doing this, we are able to create objects that fit to others. Okay, I created a nice shape of the window. Now I can delete those 4 vertexes because I don't need them. Of course, I should correctly position those vertexes here, but I don't want to lose video time doing this, so I'll leave them for now. Now, when the shape is correct, I have to use the symmetry to create mirrored copies of the windows. I have to make it now because I need to use the whole object to create the seal and to use the shell modifier. Okay, now, oops, need to click the undo key, so I have to convert the model again. Okay, now I can use the inset tool to create the seal and then detach polygons from the front window just like I did it before with the rear window. Okay, maybe I'll change the seal color to blue as well. So now I have to repeat the shell operation like I did with the rear window to make our thickness. So, I will hide all unselected objects to have a better view of the seal model. Maybe I'll repeat the shell operation only with the seal to make you remember this, and I'll leave the front window, just to save some time. So after adding the shell and converting our poly model, I have to chamfer all edges to control NURM subdivision. I selected them, so now I have to use the chamfer tool. As you can see, I chamfered the corner edges differently from the rear window because I want to have sharp edges. Okay, that's nice. Now I can do the window, so I'll be back after a few moments. Okay, I'm back with the finished window, but as you remember, I positioned a few vertexes at the front window only provisionally, so now I have to go correct it, because there is quite a large hole between the seal and the main body. So I go to the top view because the hole is better seen there. I'll correct this mistake by moving the seal vertex. I'll do it with NURM subdivision, so I will be perfectly sure that the elements fit to each other. As you can see, I'm making all modifications symmetrically, so I'm sure that both sides of the window are identical. Okay. I think that's going to be enough. But as you can see, during this correction, I made another hole. This time, between the seal and the window, so I have to improve it. As before, I will do it symmetrically by moving the vertex from both sides of the window. First, I move the 2 vertexes a little bit, and then I deselect the upper ones and I move the others a little. After doing this, we have created a smooth surface. Okay, so I created the front and rear windows with seals and showed you 2 ways to do it. First, we detach the window from the whole body, and the other way, we build the window surface on our own. Now, I'll show you how fast and easy it is to create the side windows. But first, I want to show you a trick that helps a lot when working with large complex scenes. As you can see, my model is quite large and it slows the viewports, but there's a way to solve this problem. In NURM subdivision, we've got 2 tables, display and render. Display responds for viewports, so I can decrease it, but I have to turn render on and set iterations to 2. Of course, I have to do this for the other objects in the scene. Because of this operation, I've got a low poly wire in the viewports, but my object will be rendered with NURM subdivision set on 2. This is very helpful because, believe me, in many cases, there's no other way to work with this scene. Let's start working on the side windows. To create them, I need the body and door objects as a carriage, so I'll only leave them in the scene. Okay, first I will create the seal. This time, we need to build it by ourselves. To make it faster and easier, we will use already made objects. I will copy some polygons from them so I don't have to care about the shape of the seal. So let's start. I select all outer polygons of the main body object. I will do the same with the doors. Then I will connect them and from this new object I will be able to create the seal. Now, the doors. I need all those upper polygons, so now copy them to the new object. And okay, now I can hide the doors. As you can see, when I connect the two elements using the attach tool, I will gain the outlines of the window. Now I have to edit this object a little. I need to re-edit the corners because now there are some holes. Oops, as usual, I forgot about the constraints. Okay, now it is good. Now I can copy the edges on the corners. I need to weld the edges or vertex, but I have to increase the value of threshold in the weld parameters because those two vertexes are too far away from each other. Okay, now the next two. Well, now I need to change the weld value again. Maybe this time I'll put it to 10, so I'll not have problems welding. Now the second corner. And 2. Great. Now I can make the shape of the seal. I will scale those selected edges with the copy function activated. Now we just need to edit the shape a little to make an equal thickness in every place of the seal. Oops. I see a mistake here. Here in the corner. It's because there were two vertexes here, but that's not a problem. I will weld those two vertexes now. Okay. I still have to correct the shape of the other sides of the object, but as you can see, it's a very fast method to create the seals. If we wanted to create it from the beginning, we would have much more work with making the correct shape. In this way, we created the object that fit to the doors and body perfectly. Okay, now the shape is correct, so I can delete all those outer polygons because I will not need them anymore. So the shape is correct now, but we still have to add thickness to the object. Of course, using the shell modifier. Okay, and as always, I convert the shelled model to editable poly, but before that, I need to repair one bug. Remember this corner with the two vertexes? If I converted my object to poly, I would have to weld two pairs of vertexes. Okay. Now I can go ahead and convert the object to poly. Of course, the last thing I have to do is to chamfer the edges. I need those edges and this one corner edge. Now, loop in the second corner. Now I can use the chamfer tool. But only a little. And I think that's going to be enough right there. Now, let's go ahead and check with NURM subdivision. Alright, everything looks okay. The shape is correct, and the seal fits to the car, so now I can start making the side window. I create a basic plane in the side view and convert it to poly, but I need to decrease the value of the segments. We have to set them to 1. Okay, now I can convert the model again. First, I have to position all the plane corners in strategical points. When I do this, I'll be able to add a few more horizontal segments and gain the appropriate shape. To do this, I'll use the seal model in a low poly version. Okay. Now upper vertex. The first should be here, and the second I position in the corner. Okay. When I positioned all the corners, I have to divide the plane into a couple of horizontal edges. In this case, 3. Now I just have to position the new vertex in the same line that edges the seal. Now I am perfectly sure that the shape of the window will be correct. Just notice that I divided the plane on 4 segments to make it equal to the seal. One more. And then the last one. Okay, it's enough for now. I've created the shape of the window and the side view. But as you can see, I still have to position it in all dimensions, but it will be quite easy. I just need to move all the vertexes in the x-axis so that they fit to the seal. Because I have no vertical segments in the plane, I only have to position the outlines of the window, and next, if there will be a need, I will create some vertical segments to correct the shape. But usually those vertical segments are unnecessary, because side windows in the cars are usually straight. So if you need to create some vertical segments, there are usually some geometry mistakes. Okay. One side is finished. Now the second one. It will be fast and easy, and I have to say it is the best way to create the side windows I have ever used. It's because we work on simple objects all the time, so we don't have problems with keeping the correct shape and a smooth surface. Alright. Only 2 more now. Okay, now I've finished the window and reduced this hole between it and the seal. I can just copy the upper edge and then position the 2 new vertexes in the correct places. As I look at it, I will not need any vertical segments, so it's good. My geometry is correct. Now, I need to make the last segment, and that will be all. A little back and the last correct positioning of the vertex. Okay. That looks good. There we go. And the last one. Move that up a little bit and we'll adjust this one over here to that edge. Excellent. Well, the window is nice and straight. It's because I created equal geometry on the car body. Just look. It is straight but a little imprecise, but that is only because I made it fast. But here in the top view, everything is okay. So it's a problem of imprecise references. But okay, let's add thickness to the window. Before that, I will fast change values of NURM subdivision for the seal. Now I can hide it. This time, I will show you a little bit of a different way to create the thickness. Of course, this first step will be the same, so I have to apply the shell modifier. Okay, maybe I'll decrease the value of the inner amount because the windows is always thinner than the seal. Now I can convert it to poly as before, but I will not chamfer the edges at this time. This wire is too low for that, so there will be some problems on outlines. Instead, I'll create smoothing groups, and then I'll activate the options, which separates the NURM surface by smoothing groups. So let's go ahead and start. First, I select all polygons, and then I go to the polygon properties, where you can find smoothing groups. I need to deselect all groups and leave only one. Now, all polygons have got the same group, and we have to divide them on separate ones to gain hard edges. So the bottom polygon needs to have a separate smoothing group. So let's go ahead and change that to 2. Now those polygons that make the thickness, they need to have a different group than those polygons that make the side surface. So I'll select all of them and add them to a new smoothing group. Of course, those polygons from the other side need a different group too. Okay, and now when I turn NURMs on and select smoothing groups, I've got a nice and sharp edge, just like I wanted. Now I have to check to see if there's anything wrong with the shape. Does this window and seal fit to the rest of the car? So I have to run NURM subdivision for the car body. Oops, there were some smoothing groups. Okay, maybe I'll turn the render option on right now. Okay, and here is NURMs. You can see where there's a little difference between the window and the body. I think it is the same with the seal. I see I forgot the display parameters. Okay. Now it's okay. And as I said, there's a little problem. To solve it, we just have to make the corners sharper on the window and seal. It will be easy. First, in the seal, we just have to chamfer the corner edges. Okay. That's going to be enough right there. And in the window, we just have to set up one more smoothing group. I will hide the seal to make the view better on the window. Okay, so as I said, I have to attribute a new smoothing group to all those selected polygons. Let's set it up to 5. Okay, now everything should be fine. Yep, it's correct. So now I need to clean up this little mess with all those NURM subdivision options. During this, maybe I'll sum this chapter up a little. I've shown you how to create all windows and seals on the car, so now you should not have any problems with those elements in your future car models. I also showed you how to correctly clean your geometry from vertexes and edges, and in the last part, I told you how to set up NURM subdivision options to make your viewport faster. In the next chapter, we'll be focused on lights,